Harlow. Introduce my wife, Mary Beth, who's here. Also want to introduce our good friends from LDA Architects. In the front here is Chuck from Flush. In the back is Kevin Park. And I'll let them start putting the boards up. I'll show you what we're planning on doing while I start the presentation. Will you all be able to see here? Okay, so I think we've got about 7 boards. I probably have about 10 minutes of conversation, but I'd be very happy to have you interrupt at any time so we could have a conversation going back and forth. This is a process that we've gone through in the past, and we started it most recently with the abutters meeting last week. But I want to tell you a little bit about what we're thinking about doing in the house. So this is 20 Unity Court. I have a couple diagrams to show you where this is orientation. And I'm sorry for those of you that are on the back side over here. I'm not sure how far you'll be able to see. This is a satellite view of our area. For orientation, here's the Old North Church right here. You can see the beautiful steeple right here. Here's Salem Street going down this side. Here's Charter on this side. Many of you will know Unity Street. You may or may not know Unity Court, small, very small, and it turns on the corner. Our property is right here, back here, 20 Unity Court. We're going to be talking about the very back end of our property in that setting. Bought the house in 1992. So Mary Beth and I have been long-time North End residents. We're city folks. We like to live in the city. We're raising our daughter here, so we're committed to this area. It's a place that we love and want to stay. The house actually has an old footprint. Probably the first house we built there was in probably 1829. Late 1800s was the outline of the first house that was actually built on this one that is recognizable as what we're doing right now. We bought that house, as I said, in '92. There were a number of reasons to think about renovating that space, which I'll show you what it looked like beforehand. The renovations have really been done in 3 phases. The first phase was an interior renovation, dealt with floors 2, 3, and 4 in the front house part of the house. The second phase was all internal, was first floor and the basement. And the third phase, which is the one we're talking about today, is actually in the very back end of the house, dealing mostly with bathrooms and the small space on the side here. You can see this very unusual little hitch, little notch in the house itself. This is an old picture, an old map of our area here. This was actually bought for us by friends from an antique store in Maine when they were digging around in Maine, and they found this from the area here, and I've got it upside down. But what's interesting about this is the space beside our house in this 1917 map was actually a whole series of houses that were lined up next to each other. And then starting about 1920, the church purchased a number of houses near them to really start to work on fire protection. There was a whole line of houses that went right up to the church, and they wanted to get themselves a little space to take care of fires. And it meant that the houses next to us were actually ripped down. I'll show you that picture as we go through. Anyway, if anybody wants to see the old map and the different things, it's kind of fun to look for to find your house in all the places there. I'll be happy to share it. Here's a little bit of a blow-up of the same area here. We're now looking at our property here in this space. For comparison, here's the Washington Memorial Garden next to our house, and this is the side yard of the church. Here's the church itself, and so this would be Salem up here, and this is Unity Court back here. Property line for our house, and then the line of the building. And what we're talking about in this project here is actually filling in this little space in the back here. There's a funny little kind of notch that's been that was constructed when the addition was added to the back of the house here a number of years ago, probably in the early 1900s, in this space added in there. And we're interested in looking at that space right there to complete our operation. As I told you before, this originally was a whole series of different houses. We're number 20, and there was 18, 16, and 14 that went along this space. They've all been ripped aside. And this next thing will begin to show a little bit about the space and what we're thinking about doing in these areas. Here's the notch. We're looking at these different floor plans of our current house. This is the ground floor, and we're not suggesting doing any building on the ground floor here. There's a support post in the very corner here that we're planning, and then successive floors at other parts of the house. This next floor is our kitchen and our common area. We'd like to add a small a powder room on the side here and a little area for a laundry facility. On the next floor up is a bathroom. It's probably primarily my daughter's bathroom in the plan. And on the top floor is a bathroom for Mary Beth and I, so the master bathroom on the top. And those are the areas that we are asking for permission to deal with. There's no extra building on the top floor, so there's no extra increase in height. And this is essentially ties back into the parapet of our existing house. Put that together. Now, I mentioned this sort of unusual condition in which the houses that were next to 20 Unity Court had actually been torn down some years ago, and you can see this very large stucco wall. And this was the condition of the house when we purchased it in '92. This brown stucco wall, lots of cracks, not particularly attractive, was a part of the outlook of the building we wanted to change. What we decided in this renovation, this was the first renovation, was that building was done in '97 and '98, was we kept the front of the house exactly in kind of the North End style, red brick, same strong lintel, white lintel buildings. I'll show you a picture of that in a second. And this space that had essentially been ripped aside, we took this as an opportunity to rethink about what this space would look like. And this looks out over the church and from the church's area. And our strategy in looking at that space was essentially to look around the North End. And we took several tours around the North End looking for different kinds of materials and different kinds of colors. But we wanted to recreate on this wall all things that we had seen in the North End, but now to recreate them in a little more contemporary style. And many of you who have been back there or have looked at the church will recognize this picture here, which is the side view, our current view. This was our work in the first renovation, and you can see the materials that we added there and a little bit of the view. This is actually a picture taken from the just outside of the side yard next to the church. And this is actually something that Kevin has done in a very clever way with a computer, but he's added in this little space behind here that we want to add to this tiny little corner in the back, and you can see it kind of hooking along the area here. So this is the original condition, this is phase 1, and this would be phase 3 of our renovations. There are a couple other views of this I'll show you on these next boards. Here's actually from Unity Court. So as you come down Unity Court, you have to make a very sharp right to get to the front of our building. This is the existing condition. You can see here the front of our house, very much the style of the North End. We've kind of kept that picture, as many of you will recognize. And here's the side that we've worked on. And again, Kevin has superimposed then this strong new modern space that we want to put in the back part of our house. And then I have a couple diagrams more from an architect's view of how this would look. These are existing conditions here. We're looking, actually looking straight in at the house. This would be from the direction of the church. Obviously, you can't stand right here. It would be, kind of hanging in midair, but it gives you a chance to look about what the existing condition is. And what we're dealing with in this space is in the back here, this small area of open area. It's actually 4.5 feet by 11 feet 4 inches. So it's about 48 square feet on each of the floors that we add. This is the view from the back. Again, no one could actually stand there, but if you could stand in midair behind the house, you can see it. And here's the view of our planned renovation here. You can see the series of windows, all conveniently placed at places where you can't see into the house or into the bathroom areas, and where they are, we'll be using frosted glass in that setting. And here's the view on the side from those settings. And so that's what I wanted to do, to give you a little sense about what we're thinking about there. This is a process that we've gone through before. It was in '97, we went through exactly the same operation, came to you and the other operations, and went through to begin to start to talk about these strategies. Many of you will know the house. for our architects, this has been a very, I think, enjoyable project for them. They've won a number of awards for the design of this, and so they've been very, very proud of the first phase of this, and so this will be the next phase we have to. And I'd be very happy to take any questions you might have about what we're thinking or how the abutters responded or anything. Yes?
How tall is the building?
The building, you know, the tallest thing on the building is 55 feet.
Noted on the drawing.
So, oh, sorry, there was just a drawing here. So the penthouse is, it says 45.8, something like that.
And
So
then
that's
with that addition, is that going to be?
No, it's not, it's lower than the rest of the house. It actually just continues the normal line of the house. So we aren't adding an extra floor.
And what are you using for this, the addition on the
front here?
on the front?
Let me show you. We actually brought a board to look at the materials if you wanted to see. This does a comparison of the materials that were in the previous one and what we're thinking about for the plans here. So this is the red brick that we've used on the face of the house. This is a lead-coated copper that's one of the metal pieces there. This is a steel that's actually part of the window system. It's I think it is steel, isn't it?
All the windows.
Yeah. And we picked up that color and are looking at this here. This is actually a synthetic material, but it looks very much like a piece of stone. And so that was the look we were trying to get here, is a monolithic view on that side. And you get some sense of what that is. There's a little bit of flake in there, so it won't reflect.
With the old Knoll Church?
Sorry?
Have you met with the old Knoll?
Oh, yes. Yeah, so we went and talked to them before we went to even the abutters meeting, made sure they knew what we were doing. And we got a letter of support from them, which we brought if you'd like to see, but they were very comfortable with what we were trying to do. They've been very supportive of our project all the way throughout. I think originally trying to get rid of that stucco face, I think was probably the first movement in that thing, but they've been and supportive of the setting. In fact, the abutters were quite supportive in the operations. We talked about plans about how we would manage the setting. There were a couple people here at that meeting who could comment if they wanted, but it was there were no objections voiced by abutters.
Will you have to go through DRA design review?
Yes. So, Trev, you probably can tell exactly the stage. We will go through city approval and all this.
Right, we're going to go through the ZBA process because we're asking for relief on 3 issues. One is the rear yard setback is pre-existing non-conforming. We're extending a pre-existing non-conforming condition for a very slight distance, but it does require a special permit review. We're also asking for relief from the FAR limitation. We are slightly over the FAR that is applicable to this location.
FAR, can anybody know what that is? Florida area. Oh, you're well.
Yeah, it's the, okay, so everybody knows. And then the ZBA does require the review of all additions from a point of view of the roof. Even we're not asking for any relief, we're not going any higher than the existing roof, but because we are going up to the roof, the ZBA does require review of that connection of the new piece to the existing roof. So those are the 3 things. Oh, and then, sorry, there's one further one, and that is the fire separation distance between Ed and Mary Beth's house and the Old North Church. This was an issue that we addressed back in 1997. The building code requires a certain minimum distance between structures. In 1997, the ZBA determined that given the historic nature of Old North and the Washington Memorial Garden, and as well the Board of Trustees of Old North going on record that they have no intention of ever building on that location, they granted us a waiver of the fire separation between the work we were doing on the side of 20 Unity Court and the next adjacent abutter, which is Old North Church. So we have to ask for a review of that earlier decision now that we're expanding and filling in that little corner in the back of the house.
And in the church's support letter, they've mentioned their plans for the garden here. They have a very nice planned renovation of their garden, probably in a couple years, I think is the plan, that they'll be working in that area. And so for the foreseeable future, I don't think there's an opportunity or any plans for building that space.
But in terms of actual design review of the materials that you guys have been putting up?
I believe that that will take place at the ZBA as well.
Can you speak to it?
Yes.
But I think the materials that you have match the building now, right?
Yeah, so we're following where we were.
Sorry?
Except for white.
The white cat's not on the building now? It is,
Yeah,
right?
It
You
is,
said was.
yeah, all the windows are currently
How about the other?
painted white metal.
The metal, is that on the building now?
So what is?
The metal?
The metal?
Yes, yeah.
That's on the
So
building now?
the window frames are white metal.
Correct.
I know.
No, I'm talking about the other.
So in fact, if you start at the historic front of the house that headed pointed to the court, so all those window frames are painted white. They were originally white. And there are white stone lintels above each and every
But
one
I'm
of those
talking about
windows.
the other, I'm not talking about.
And then
the
when we
white.
turn the side,
Yeah.
we use that same precedent of the white windows, and all of the windows that were added on the side, including the large bay window, are all finished in white. That's the small sample in the center of the door.
And this on the far left, okay, with.
The lead-coated copper, so the lead-coated copper is a common material used throughout the north end. It's zinc, it's lead on top of copper because it prevents it from turning green and bleeding over the surface of the brick or the white and staining it. And the reason we use the lead-coated copper here is that it darkens and turns more of a charcoal but doesn't leach the copper onto the surrounding surfaces and discolor them.
So everything on that material board is actually on the building today?
Yeah,
I think that's the
correct.
question. So
Yeah.
everything.
So it all was previously reviewed in 1997 and approved then, and we're just extending those materials onto the new
You can
piece.
request the design review.
So that would turn into like a charcoal.
Seems like everything on those.
It's, right, this is a new piece you see there. If you were to visit the building now, you would see that it's much more of a warm, not quite charcoal, but sort of a warm gray, like a, looking around for a good example. More like the counter, that's good, sort of that color of the counter there.
Would that be something you'd be open to BRA design review of the design?
Of which part, sorry?
The BRA design review of.
I'd be very happy to have, any of the appropriate folks to have a look at it.
Given that it is in a very kind of historic part of the city, or the neighborhood in general.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they were part of the original discussions, so we had a long discussion with them in the original plan. Happy to go back and talk to them again.
Any other questions from the board? Any questions from the audience? Any voters?
Thank you all for your time. Very much.
All right, so,
I make a motion to support the petition to add, Unity Court. Also, Unity Court are proposing a three-story renovation addition of a private single residence building. I make a motion to support.
everybody want to vote? We're going to take the vote and then we'll announce that, David.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor.
Mary Beth Perlberg, owners of Townhouse, proposing a three-story renovation addition of a private single residence building. The neighborhood council has voted 9-0 in unanimous support, with councilors Bregman, Lanza, Marks, Mendoza, Verocchi, Devlin, Simboli, Riccio, and Kenny all voting in support.